Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our nation has to offer, especially health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.
In the squadron, they called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Well, they're back on American soil. The American Olympic team just landed in a big jet in Miami. Why are they going to Miami? Why would they go to Miami? I guess for weather, right? They can't come back to New York. And probably they're from all over the country. Isn't Olympic headquarters in America in Oregon? Isn't that where they do all the Olympic stuff? I think it is, actually. Eugene, Oregon. They got a big Olympic thing there. Who knows? These guys most of them are probably from the north and that kind of thing. And a lot of these guys actually are professional players. Is that right? One guy plays on the Devils. That used to be a big no-no, right? You had to be totally amateur. And now they're putting pros. I mean, I guess we do that in basketball as well. Remember the Dream Team in Atlanta, right? Anyway, that's fine. That's fine. What else is there to say about the snow other than it's not as intense as it was? I would say this is, if you're comparing snow to rain, we're at about a drizzle. It's a drizzle. It's light. Maybe more than it's steady. It's lighter than it was. Not pouring. It's a steady rain. And it was pretty wild last night. Came down, and let me just go through the basics here. And then we'll do the Mamdami's curious take on snow. Sometimes people think, and this apparently is in the communist playbook, that they'll ruin society, right? So it'll be so bad that they'll be able to kind of seek and achieve even more power. You break down social services and the police so much that to reassert order, they can actually take us in a very nasty authoritarian direction. And that sounds very accurate to me. That sounds like something that I kind of feel is his wish. But who knows? Who knows? Actually, I do know. This is a bad guy. And something tells me he's been tipped off to the federal investigation that's ongoing into his situation. Because his situation, well, we'll find out more soon enough. The other thing real quick, Mexican cartel kingpin El Mencho was taken out after authorities tracked mistress to secret love nest. You know, a bail bondsman once told me the secret to catching somebody is you go to the things that hold what he loves. And for male criminals, generally speaking, that's two things: sex and drugs and or alcohol. That's how you track him. Where is he getting his sex? Where is he getting his drugs? And where is he getting his alcohol? Now, how do you find a woman who's on the run and, has skipped bail? Huh? What do you think the trick is there? Same thing? No, it's not the same thing. Where are her kids? Where are the children that she has? That's how you find them. Isn't that interesting? Mexico's most notorious cartel boss was located. Yeah. And right now the violence down there is really intense. I am so glad I made a vow not too long ago to never go south of the border again. I don't quite frankly want to leave the country again. I have done all the traveling I need to do. I just want to stay in the good old USA and only certain sections of the USA. Sorry. But things are a little bit intense throughout the world. And if you go to some of the websites that I go to and these drug cartels and what they're up to and what they have been up to and how they settle scores and the rest. I mean, 5 miles south of El Paso, Texas, they're chopping off heads every single day. And they're not beheading them like with the guillotine. They do it in the most brutal, sick way. And it is very, very, it'll give you nightmares. I really encourage people to not look at that stuff. Hey, the other thing before the weather, federal judge blocks release of Jack Smith report on classified document case against Trump. A South Florida federal judge permanently blocked the Justice Department from publicly divulging former special counsel Jack Smith's report dealing with President Trump's hoarding of sensitive national security information at Mar-a-Lago following the end of his term. Hoarding. I wouldn't call it hoarding. Fort Pierce U.S. District Judge Aileen Cannon, a Trump appointee, excoriated Smith and his team for their brazen stratagem in compiling the report after she ruled in 2024 that he was unconstitutionally named special counsel in the case. To say this chronology represents, at a minimum, a concerning breach of the spirit of the dismissal order is an understatement, if not an outright violation of it, the judge wrote in her 15-page ruling. God bless this woman. She is strong. She is good. She really is something else. I am so impressed with her. Don't forget the Mar-a-Lago shooting. I'm going to have my friend Charles Marino call in because he's so good on this stuff. The Secret Service, you know, if you can't say what's wrong, you can't fix what's wrong. And they just gave a great big fat pass to the Secret Service because it was going to hurt people's feelings if we asked really tough questions and demanded accountability for the massive screw up in Butler, Pennsylvania, and the other one in at West Palm Beach in September of 24. If you don't mind, I'd like to do the Scott Bessent on Dana Bash real quick about the trade stuff. And this is one of the reasons why Trump likes him so much. Go ahead.
This morning, sir. I do want to start with the big question. Will you refund the roughly $134 billion in revenue taken by these emergency tariffs?
Well, Dana, that's not the big question. Let's just level set here. What the Supreme Court did was a very narrow reading of the president's authority under the IEEPA tariffs. We have other tariff authorities which have been functioning, Section 232 tariffs, Section 301 tariffs. And Dana, when you say it's a big question, that's bad framing because the Supreme Court didn't even address that. The Supreme Court remanded it down to a lower court, and we will follow what they say, but that could be weeks or months when we hear them. So the Supreme Court did not address refunds.
Sure, they didn't address refunds. That is clearly going to be up to you, which is why
No, Dana, it is not up to me. It is It is not up to the administration. It is up to the lower court. Let's just be clear on that.
Okay. Well, the Justice Department told a federal appeals court in this very case last year, if tariffs imposed on plaintiffs during these appeals are ultimately held unlawful, then the government will issue refunds to plaintiffs.
Again, I'm not going to get out ahead of the court. We will follow the court's direction, but as I said, that could be weeks or months away. That decision was not rendered on Friday.
It could be years away, actually. It could be years away. And a little rule of thumb when it comes to the media, the fake news, they're always wrong. Hey, if you don't mind, Mamdani, and this is the calling all men and boys to show up and shovel like it's the freaking Depression, which is he wants to be because it can be a great big power grab going back to FDR. That's what they do. Mamdani at that silly press conference with all the emergency people. Look at us in our jackets. Look at us in our cute little jackets. Go ahead.
There's been this controversy over the snow laborers and the sort of what some see as onerous need to have documentation. Can you just talk about if that's new and what you make of the controversy?
This is all long-standing. This is a long-standing program and long-standing requirements, and this is a way that New Yorkers get paid to shovel snow in assistance with the city's response to a winter storm event. Federal law requires that employers get authorization and documentation to pay people for their work. We are not allowed to just cut checks to individuals for their work.
Hold on a second. Now he wants to follow federal law. His whole campaign is about sticking it to Trump and the Trump administration and ICE. Why is he so focused on following federal law now? Keep going.
And these are the policies that we've had in place, but I understand that for many, it's the first time that they've ever heard about it.
Well, the emphasis came from you guys. I think this was part of the Leg Up program, right? This was not a thing, and you can see it's not a thing because about 10 people have showed up through the entire city. Has it? No. Anyway, just amateurish. Another amateurish episode from an amateurish guy, right? If there is, hey, do me a favor, Mike in New Jersey. What is it? Hello. Is he there? Line 5.
Hey, Greg,
Yeah.
congratulations on your show.
What's up?
I'm very glad to hear that your show went national. That's awesome.
How can I help?
What I'd like to talk about is the snow.
And
I thought that the state of New Jersey actually handled it pretty well.
Yeah. Where in Jersey are you?
Hunterdon County.
Oh, that's kind of it's kind of down and over, right?
It's kind of straight out west. If you come out of the Holland Tunnel, just take 78 west straight. Brings you right into Hunterdon County.
Isn't it kind of like all country, rural out there?
Yes, it's rural New Jersey, believe it or not.
Yeah, no, I know that New Jersey has rural spots. And, they plowed those country roads?
They did a beautiful job. It was nice early this morning.
Huh. Hey, by the way,
even with a state of emergency.
Don't you think it's kind of a fake thing to give the governor credit? I mean, do we really think Mikey Sherrill had any say in any of this stuff? This stuff has been sitting around on the books for a long time, right?
I give my county credit. Hunterdon County did a beautiful job. Most of our roads are county roads.
Yeah.
The Highway 78. They did a nice job, though. I can't even say they didn't.
All right. Have you been out yet?
Yes, I was just out.
All right.
Just out and about.
Very good, Mike. All right. Everything's good in Hunterdon County. We appreciate it, pal. Do they have, I should ask you, townships? They always have those townships out there. Townships. What's a township anyway? We don't have those in New York. We don't have townships. We have villages. We have, the town of, but we don't have townships, which is fine. Hey, Whoopi Goldberg is in The View, is in the Epstein files. Did you hear about this one? Epstein files. Whoopi Goldberg. So am I, by the way. Cut BS 14 if you don't mind. BS 14. Whoopi and The View. Is she in those files for real?
Bottom line is this. Release the damn files and release them now. Release everything.
If this does not implicate Donald Trump, why wouldn't you say release everything? They absolutely have to show us what they're all hiding. If there's nothing to hide, release it all.
But all of that information is out there. Why not just put it to rest and say, release the list?
Because, they should just say, listen, this is what it is. Do you want to offer your G2?
Okay. And it looks like they said no thanks.
Yes. So in other words, anybody can be on this list.
Well, this is my point, because I'm telling you, when I tell you people are trying to turn me into, I wasn't his girlfriend. You used to have facts before you said stuff.
But Trump is on the list 38,000 times.
Well, I can't speak to him, but I'm speaking about me because I'm getting dragged. People actually believe that I was with him.
He drops like 300 names.
Yes.
And it's like flood the zone, because when you're looking, there are people like Marilyn Monroe, who was dead.
Elvis.
Yeah, a lot of people, because a lot of the reasons your name can be mentioned are news articles, third-party emails, contacts. Again, wealthy, famous people often cross in professional and social circles, so that's not the surprising part.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. What change of heart, right? You saw that, how they changed their tune? Yes, she's in there a lot. And that is not incriminating, but they shouldn't have been so irresponsible to say, if your name is in the file, I knew President Trump's name was going to be in the file. I mean, President Trump is one of the most talked about men in the universe. If you look at somebody's email from the cloud, there's a damn good chance that President Trump is mentioned basically in everybody's email. In everybody's library, there's a mention of President Trump. Doesn't mean he knows you. Doesn't mean he's partied with you. Doesn't mean you've flown on his jet. Doesn't mean anything. As I may have told you, I'm in the Epstein files. Yes, I am. I never spoke to Jeffrey Epstein. I saw him once, actually, though, at a big public screening, not a screening, but a Broadway opening. And I do remember this. I gave him a dirty look. I'm like, what the hell are you doing here? And I just looked at him. I just gave him a look. May not sound like much, but he noticed. He noticed. But at the same time, maybe I shouldn't have given him a look, because guess what? There ain't no child trafficking ring, at least not in these files, and at least no proof of that regarding Epstein. Sorry, but it's true. So many people are in love with this fake news narrative, with this President Trump said it was a hoax, and he's right. He also said that people would be hurt by releasing the files, and that's happened. Now, people who have molested children, I mean, they deserve to be arrested. But guess what's not in here? People molesting children. It's geeky billionaires who don't know how to get girls getting advice from Jeffrey Epstein on how to pursue adult women. And some of these women, oh, by the way, are age appropriate. Larry Summers is like 70 years old. He was trying to pick up some 58-year-old woman. Is that terrible? Is it terrible that Bill Gates was with a Russian prostitute? It's really not my business. I don't care. The prostitute was, no one's saying the prostitute was a child. All right. The prostitute was a hooker in the hotel. You've seen prostitutes. Have you ever seen a prostitute? Come on. You've seen a prostitute. Everybody, right? Although sometimes you don't know. Sometimes you don't know. That happened to me once. Nothing happened, but I once was, somebody was talking to me and I thought, I'm really doing well here. Turned out, yep, she was a hooker. But I found out in the nick of time, and I'll be right back.
Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our nation has to offer, especially health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.
Rural Americans deserve access to the best our nation has to offer, especially when it comes to health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families' health. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care. Rural Americans deserve access to the best our nation has to offer, especially when it comes to health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families' health. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.
Greg Kelly on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
All right, quick times update here. The blizzard that has buried much of the Northeast is pulling away from New York and pounding New England, creating conditions so impossible to navigate that the majority of the plows are out of commission in Providence, Rhode Island, where 33 inches of snow has fallen. This appears to be the most historic blizzard we've received in a decade. Well over 500,000 homes and businesses in the Northeast have been plunged into darkness, including nearly 300,000 in Massachusetts. Snowfall totals in dozens of towns across New Jersey, New York, and southern New England top 2 feet. Heavy snow is expected across much of New England until nightfall, but conditions were beginning to improve Monday afternoon around New York City and along the New Jersey coast. And I am still seeing the snow fall, but much, much, much smaller flakes. And also, not nearly as windy as it was not too long ago. Let me see here. In the beginning, we had a grasp on it. We were hopeful, said Ernest Solek, who started shoveling the sidewalk outside of Rockefeller Center on Sunday evening. He skipped sleep. By 9 a.m, he said his efforts had been undone. Now it looks like we didn't do anything at all. Well, still, if you didn't do anything, it would be worse. In New York City, 19.7 inches had fallen. As of 1 p.m., the 9th highest total on record. So they're paying, they went from $19 to $30 an hour. Officially, 800 shovelers were already out on the streets. City Parks Department reports that 300 trees have fallen down. Mamdani said some unwelcome news for city's 900,000 public school children. School will be held in person tomorrow. All right. Other than that, it seems to be winding down. Let me take another peek at those streets. Yeah, I don't see much in the way of plows, but the cars themselves have been keeping the snow off the road.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Ask for a couple questions. We're not going to take a lot, but I want to warn you right now. Make them relevant to exactly what I'm talking about. All right? No what ifs. What about this? Don't get off base because we're not going to answer that. We're going to give you what we know and what we can. All right? So keep that in mind.
Actually, no, they're going to hold back all kinds of stuff. It's a weirdo press conference. I'm sorry, but there's something very, very strange going on with the protection afforded President Trump and his family. We've already seen technically, I think this is the third assassination attempt where we have more questions and not enough answers. That's my take on it. I'd like to bring in a true expert, though, Charles Marino, the internationally recognized national security expert. You've seen him all over the news, a former executive with the United States Secret Service and senior advisor to the Department of Homeland Security, and he is the founder and CEO of Sentinel, a global risk and intelligence consulting firm. Charles Marino, welcome back, sir. How are you?
I'm good, Greg. How are you?
I'm all right. The snow is kind of dissipated, and it looks like we made it through the worst of it, and that's great. But
good.
Look, another maniac made it onto presidential property, essentially, Mar-a-Lago, with a gun and a gas tank. And I have to tell you, first off, I don't know if you watched the press conference yesterday, but it was just beneath the dignity of the Secret Service and the FBI, or what should be. Am I being too harsh?
Yeah, no, look, first, let me agree with you that I think this was, in fact, a third assassination attempt, and that's why you're seeing the FBI be so involved in this shooting. If this were just a trespass on private property where Secret Service agents had to use deadly force, that investigation would have stayed with the Secret Service. The fact that the FBI is so involved, and it's written in statute, that if there is an assassination attempt, or it's deemed to be, that the FBI takes over the investigation. So the fact that the FBI is so involved should be telling to everybody that's listening to this right now. As far as the security footprint that was in place on that morning, early in that morning, that is the footprint that has been negotiated with West Palm Beach when the president is not in residence. This has been an ongoing negotiation. Local officials have been very tough on some of the restrictions that they have placed regarding the closing of streets, as they do when the president is in residence. You may have heard about this on the news recently, Greg, when it comes to closing the airspace above Mar-a-Lago. That is now closed full time, whether the president's been there or is planning to go there or is actually in residence. It doesn't matter. The airspace remains closed. West Palm Beach officials have been outraged over that because of the impact they say it's causing to local airports. Just to give you an idea of the type of negotiation that goes into setting up the security footprint around Mar-a-Lago.
Who is in the right when it comes to setting up security around Mar-a-Lago then? I mean, is it the local guys or is it Secret Service? And I want to just point out, though, look, in this press conference, this is why I'm upset. The Secret Service guy was literally chewing gum. All right. This major event, they spoke for about 5 minutes and then they basically ran away. That's what it looked like to me. And they glossed over the fact that a guy actually made it onto the property through the gate. There is a gate, the northern gate. That's where a lot of the people come and go. And this guy somehow made it onto the property through the gate. Was the gate open? Was it shut? What other barriers were in place? How did somebody make it through a gate? A gate is supposed to be closed. It's a controlled access point. And I find that, that's why I'm very suspicious on top of all the other screw ups we've had.
Yeah, look, I think back to the press conferences, whether we're talking about how they were done after the assassination attempt in Butler or the assassination attempt on the golf course in West Palm Beach, there needs to be more transparency, more professionalism during these press conferences. And it's certainly something that, in my opinion, can continue to get better, and it needs to get better. The American public, when it comes to the safety and security of the President of the United States, need to be informed. Now, I'm not saying everything involved in the investigation needs to be spoken about, but in this situation where you have a suspect and that suspect is now dead, the expectation is that the information should come faster. I don't think the information that's been brought forward regarding the assassination attempt in Butler, where the suspect was also killed, has been fast enough. I think there's still information that's needed, and I think the information needs to be more transparent in this case. As far as the vehicle making it through the gate, look, the gate is the first line of defense when he's not in residence. That street is not closed. In my opinion, it puts the Secret Service at a significant disadvantage. Now, under federal statute, the Secret Service is allowed to set up the security perimeter as deemed appropriate. Here, they're trying to be good neighbors in the city of West Palm, and I think that needs to change. The director of the Secret Service, rightfully so, got himself on a plane yesterday, flew down to West Palm, and they're doing an after-action review right now of this incident. I think that perimeter needs to be expanded, and it needs to be expanded permanently. This just can't happen.
I want to pick up from that press conference we were just talking about. Go ahead, pick it up.
All right. My name's Rick Bradshaw. I'm the sheriff of Palm Beach County. I have with me from the FBI, Special Agent in Charge Brett Skiles, Special Agent in Charge Rafael Barrios from the Secret Service. Also, I have Resident Agent in Charge David Clancy. At 1:30 this morning, the security detail detected that a individual had made his way into the inner perimeter of Mar-a-Lago. A deputy and 2 Secret Service agents on the detail went to that area to investigate. They confronted a white male that was carrying a gas can and a shotgun. He was ordered to drop those 2 pieces of equipment that he had with him, at which time he put down the gas can, raised the shotgun to a shooting position. At that point in time, the deputy and the 2 Secret Service agents fired their weapons and neutralized the threat.
So, there's just so much that's weird in there. I'm sorry, but he's not talking about the gate, but it is the gate. He made his way. There's just, a lack of professionalism that I find astonishing. He's mispronouncing the name of the Secret Service special agent in charge.
Mm-hmm.
He is, who meanwhile is chewing gum. He's choosing the wrong words, and he's leaving strange things out. And I don't know. Nobody seems to be pursuing excellence anymore, and it's infecting everything.
Well, he is using the wrong words. I disagree, for example, with him using the term the interior of the property. This suspect was still a good distance away from the location that the president usually spends time in anyway. I would still consider this to be the outer perimeter of the security plan. The suspect's vehicle was stopped 20 to 30 yards after making it into the gate. Now, that's unacceptable. They need to make sure that never happens again. But it still was at the furthermost portion of that security plan when he's not in residence.
Wait, let me get this straight, because I've heard, before others did, and now I'm hearing it, I think, from you. The car made it onto the property 20 to 30 yards from the gate, like onto Mar-a-Lago. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. Correct. And my understanding is it was a piggybacking of another vehicle that was authorized to be in there.
Well, the idea, and it also sounds like these people were made aware of this car coming in, and then they were prompted to investigate. It's not like they had guards at the gate. I don't. Wow. So the car made it that far on. That's crazy. And if President Trump were there, you could say, well, the security would be much greater, or would it be? No, it would have been. The street would have been shut down, and the checkpoints would have been pushed out to the outer perimeter of that closed street. So there would have been a lot more scrutiny. There would have been earlier checks. And again, it's the outer perimeter when he's not in residence. You have Secret Service agents married up with uniformed police officers. That's how we know that it was the outermost perimeter, because that's who confronted the suspect when he pulled through the gate and they attempted to stop him from piggybacking. So he blew past them and they had to catch up to the vehicle and then intervene. Wow. That is something else. Well, I think it needs still, and a lot of folks, quite frankly, Charles, lawmakers and the rest, they haven't been in law enforcement like you. A lot of them have never carried a gun, and they are reluctant to kind of call out the Secret Service. After all, these are our men and women in, law enforcement, and, we support them and this and that, and we do. However, to support them, you got to be able to ask the tough questions. And there's got to be accountability. And right now it's too much about emotion and feeling and support, and not enough heads are rolling, and heads need to roll. And
the threat level's never been higher, Greg, and the job of the Secret Service has never been more important than it is right now. I mean, we have a president right now, President Trump, that is facing an unprecedented amount of threats.
And he deserves it. He deserves the best support, and he's not getting it. Charles Marino. Folks can go to Charles Marino, MARINO.com. He's got great books. He's got a great resume. Charles Marino, if you need him for a security consultation, he's got a great outfit for that. Charles Marino, we thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
You bet. To be continued, sir. 20 to 30 yards onto the compound, piggybacking in. Somebody goes in. I used to do that at Breezy Point every now and then. Okay, because I didn't have an ID. I'd go follow the person in front. We would do that, but it was okay to do it. It was just a beach. Still no plows outside. I hear a big dump truck, but no plow. Well, experts say this flu season is the worst we've seen in 25 years. Either way, you know how this goes. Every year, someone in my family gets sick. Then everyone gets sick, and suddenly you're fighting to see a doctor or stuck waiting in a crowd in urgent care. Not this year. I am ready. I ordered a medical emergency kit. It's been a lifesaver. My kit is stocked with essential prescription medications, antibiotics like a generic Z-Pak to help you recover faster, amoxicillin for pneumonia, strep throat, and ear infections, plus prescriptions for nausea, UTIs, and they even have some ivermectin in there. It is simple. Match your symptoms in the guidebook or call the telemedicine doctor standing by. Start treatment early, feel better faster. No waiting rooms, no pharmacy lines. I love my medical emergency kit. and you should get one too. I got you $45 off when you use my code Greg. Just go to urgentcarekit.com/Greg. That's urgentcarekit.com/Greg, and that's the promo code Greg.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
All right, lots of people giving Kash Patel a hard time for partying down with the winning U.S. Olympic hockey team in wherever the hell that game was in Italy. There he is, jumping up and down. Kind of like he won the hockey. Anyway, can we blame him? Actually, look, he's coming, they're giving him a hard time, but there's nothing more irresponsible than what Christopher Wray did, and dishonest. Christopher Wray, when he was the FBI director, lied in a Senate hearing, judiciary hearing, said he had to leave a committee hearing because he had business to do. He actually, and I heard it, you're going to hear a little bit of it now, they cut off, because he's got to catch a plane, he says. I got to catch a plane, and I got to hightail it out of here. The plane is the FBI plane, and it's going to take him to upstate New York, the Adirondacks, so he can go on a dopey little vacation. All right, here is that moment where he bolts the hearing. Go ahead.
Senator, I had a flight that I'm supposed to be hightailing it to out of here, and I had understood that we were going to be done at 1:30, so that's how we ended up where we are.
If it's your business trip, you got your own plane. Can it wait a while?
I've tried to make my break as fast as I could to get right back out of here.
Yeah, and you took more than 5 minutes.
The press reported shortly thereafter that the reason that the hearing had to be cut short is because you were flying on a Gulfstream jet for a personal vacation in the Adirondacks. Please tell me that's not accurate.
Senator, the hearing was not cut short from my experience. We had agreed beforehand on the time and length of it, and I was very surprised to find that anyone on the committee was surprised. As to how I fly, I am required, not only permitted, but required to fly on an FBI plane wherever I go.
So you were going on vacation?
I was, yes.
So you left a statutorily required oversight hearing in order to go on a personal vacation in the Adirondacks?
I took a flight to go visit my family.
You said you had a plane to catch. You had somewhere to go. And now we find out it was for vacation?
The reference to other business was not a reference to that day. It was a reference to the following week where Senator Grassley and I were going to see each other in Iowa when I had other business in Iowa, and I did in fact see him then.
So wait, you had to leave the hearing early because you're going to see him later in Iowa in a week?
No, I had to leave when I said I was going to have to leave, as had been previously organized with the leadership of the committee.
You left an oversight hearing before the Senate Judiciary Committee required by statute so you could vacation.
That's really something. I mean, I've been busting his chops about that for a long time now, Ray. But I never heard, that was in November, the follow-on hearing, and Josh Hawley ripping into him. I ripped into him because it's worse. He's at one point, Grassley says, "So you have other business?" And Ray says, "Yeah." And then Grassley says, "Okay." And he basically runs out of the hearing room at that point. And he was lying, and he should have been held in contempt of Congress or impeached or something. Now, at least Kash Patel is being open about it, right? I mean, he's partying. He's showing everybody what he's up to. We have to get the hell out of here. The snow has stopped in Midtown Manhattan. There is no more snow falling. How beautiful is that? Kind of miss it already, actually. Alan in Pennsylvania, how are you?
I wanted to answer that question you asked about how come one day that particular reporter looks like a, let's just say, Instagram model, and the next day like your kid's librarian. It's because she knows what producers in TV figured out with the days of Lloyd Lindsay Young. Remember, he was the weatherman we grew up on, and we enjoyed him.
I don't remember Lloyd Lindsay Young. Name sounds familiar, but I don't remember. So, what are you saying?
He used to give the weather. Anyway, if you look at the morning weather now, the girls look very different in those form-fitting dresses. This young lady on CNN has figured out nobody cares about what she says, and she is trolling us men because she knows we don't care about what comes out of her mouth.
No, I disagree with you. I disagree with you. Maybe back in the day, people didn't care or whatever in the 90s, and people turned on cable news to see hot chicks. But let's face it, pal, there's a lot of places to go to see hot chicks if you want to see hot chicks. I don't turn CNN on or cable news to, I turn it on to hear things. For the most part, I listen to it. I don't even watch it. I listen to it occasionally. Those days are over where you just put hot people on and, that doesn't cut it anymore. It may have it a long time ago, but you got to have something to say. Oh, by the way, the person I was busted on, generally speaking, has something to say. She does. To be honest, she's so attractive, it's almost a little bit distracting. You got to factor that in as well. All right, Alan, thank you very much. Lloyd Lindsay Young, vaguely. Pat, hello. Is Pat there?
Yeah, hello? Yes, hello. I'm wondering why I see when I'm walking around locks on, like, say, cellars, and they're not locked. And maybe the lock on that gate that went through, the car that went through from President Trump, there should have been a lock there. I see a lot of locks that should be closed, and they're open. And I find that very strange.
I have not noticed this phenomenon you speak of. I did, however, buy a lock from the hardware store this very weekend. I bought a master lock, the combination on it. And it's the same lock from Master that they were making when I was in high school. Same exact design. I mean, talk about something that's perfect. And I just got to find something to use it on. I just couldn't pass it up. It was like, wow, this really brings me back. I don't have something to lock. Tony, Michael, and the rest, I got to go. There's the music. The snow is over. We made it through the snow. Barry Manilow should make a new song about that. We made it through the rain. I love that guy, Barry, and his music. Congratulations to the Olympians on their way back, on their way to Washington, D.C. That's wonderful. And also, congratulations to that Alyssa Liu. And thank you all.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here? Rural Americans deserve access to the best our nation has to offer, especially when it comes to health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families' health. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.